Welcome to Conscious Confidence Radio, a timeless wisdom with Sarah Main. Follow host Sarah Main on her ongoing journey of conscious confidence and gain timeless wisdom to unleash unparalleled confidence. A conscious confidence. Learn to ignite the living spark of wisdom, a new narrative for fulfillment contained in Sanskrit and the ancient, powerful, engaging, and fun conscious conversations to discover your own magnificent true self. Learn to dispel the fear shadow as Sarah provides essential knowledge about embracing change and the power of transformation. Get ready, Conscious Confidence starts now.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to Conscious Confidence Radio. I'm Sarah Main, creator of Conscious Confidence, A Timeless Wisdom. And today it's Keep It Simple, Sweetheart. That's the title of the show. Keep It Simple, Sweetheart. It's all about simplifying. But before we get into that, we're going to do a quick recap of what I've been doing for the last four shows. This is the fifth show. I've been doing a series of shows, one show per step in my FUSE program, my FUSE, Conscious Confidence FUSE program. And it's the main part of my book, which has just come out. It's very exciting. That's a tissue marking a place in there. But that's my book, which has come out. Very exciting. But in the book, the core of it is the Conscious Confidence FUSE program, FUSE, which is how to develop conscious confidence within yourself. Highly practical, taking the wisdom of Sanskrit and relating it to your everyday life to develop conscious confidence within yourself, which is totally possible because it's completely natural. So today's show is the S in the FUSE, FUSE program. But to begin, let's start with a bit of a recap so that we pick up the story so far. So the first part of the FUSE program is called, and one of the things I do is I relate everything back to the wisdom in Sanskrit. Hence, it's a timeless wisdom. Sanskrit is a beautiful, ancient, timeless language. English is a cognate of it. So it's Sanskrit is a mother of English. They're related. So people may think, how does this relate to me? I speak English. When we're speaking English, we're actually completely connected to Sanskrit as we're speaking English. Because Sanskrit is one of the root Indo-European languages and English is one of that family, as is German, Italian, all the Romance languages, the Germanic languages. So that's a little bit of background about why I keep harping on about Sanskrit. The wisdom in it is unbelievable. And that's what we really need to tap into to transform our lives. We need some really proper, solid knowledge. And that's what Sanskrit can give you. So today we're up to the S, the simplifying, which is the FUSE and FUSE. But before then, we started with core values. And in Sanskrit, it refers to values as mulyam, which is roots, and argha, which is that which you honor. So your values, your core values, are the root, the absolute heart of you and how you live your life. And what you honor, those values that are important to you are the ones that you truly honor. When we value, we honor something. And that's a connection with our heart, what we honor in our heart. It could be magnificence. It could be generosity, kindness, service, love. All these beautiful values are so important and they are at the heart, the root of what we do every day. We make a cup of tea. Do we make it with care? Is care one of our values? When we walk along the street and we see some litter on the ground, do we pick it up? Is service one of our values? When we speak to people, do we speak to them with respect and kindness? Are they our values? We can't escape them. Values are how we live our life. It's just a case of whether we're conscious of what our values are. So mulyam and argha, that which we honor, and the root is where Sanskrit really helps us understand the importance of values. And also in the Sanskrit tradition, they see these values as mighty energies. They're divine energies, actually. That's how they're understood. They're not just thoughts or concepts, they're actually energies. And it's a case of which energies are we giving expression to. So that's a beautiful way of understanding core values. Then the next step in the FUSE Fuse program for conscious confidence is a positive attitude. Now, Sanskrit's very interesting about attitude, because if you look it up, there's three aspects to it. There's sthiti, bhava, and vritti, which means our point of view, our sthiti, our stance. That's where we get stance and standing from, comes from the Sanskrit sthiti, stha. Bhava means our intent or motivation, the emotional content in what we do. And vritti means our conduct, and ideally right conduct, our behavior. So Sanskrit, when I ask people about attitude, they just thought it was an intellectual concept and it was disconnected from the heart. No, not according to Sanskrit. Sanskrit links mind and heart together with attitude, and it's sthiti, bhava, and vritti, which is our stance or point of view, the way we view the world, the point from which we view the world, our intent or motivation, and then our conduct. So it covers everything. And ideally, what we're interested in is choosing a positive attitude. And I think that's one of the key points about attitude, is that there's a choice. And only we can make that choice. And we do have that choice, regardless of circumstances. We have a choice. We're not always clear that that's the case, but actually we do. And it all depends on our choice. And in my book, I go into what the Sanskrit says about choice, just to clarify that little bit of thinking. So we have core values, these beautiful, mighty energies, the root, that which we honor. Then we have our attitude, which is our stance or point of view, our motivation, and our conduct. Those three elements make up our attitude. Then we move on to the fourfold energy of conscious confidence, which is focusing, uniting, simplifying, energizing. The first one is focusing. I did a whole show on focusing. And I used the quote from Julius Caesar, Veni, Vidi, Vici, if you know your Latin. I came, I saw, I conquered. That doesn't happen without focus. I came, I saw, I conquered. And Buddha said, all that we are is the result of what we have thought, what we have given our attention to. So for conscious confidence, we need to be clear on our values. We need to be clear on our attitude and choose a positive attitude. And then we need to practice focusing. And that means giving our attention to what we're doing. And there's beautiful Sanskrit words. They're all in my book. And I mentioned some of them in the previous shows about focusing, about giving attention. And there are snags along the way. I know that. You need to practice. It doesn't just happen. It's like running a marathon. You don't just decide one day you're going to run a marathon. You've actually got to practice. So there are some snags in terms of distractions, because the monkey mind just weaves a web of simple associations, and all of a sudden we're gone. We see something on the back of a bus that reminds us of someone we knew at high school. Then we remember a song we heard. Then we remember what our auntie said to us at Thanksgiving one year. And so it goes on. And then we're lost. So the solution is to come back to the present moment. Every time we catch ourselves lost in this web of simple associations and loosely associated thoughts, we just need to stop, relax, breathe, and let go, come into the present moment and give our full attention to what we're doing. And that's so important. So that's focusing. The next part of the FUSE Fuse program is uniting. United we stand, divided we fall. Unity is strength. Success lies in balancing the diverse elements and weaving them into a united whole. So diversity and variety is fantastic. It's beautiful. That's life. It's the richness of life. But the problem is when we latch onto something, we cling to something, and then that creates a division. And division without awareness, we're just stuck. We're just locked in this separation, and there's no success in that. So we need to balance diversity and bring in our awareness and find the underlying unity, and always work for unity and uniting. And you need focus, you need attention to do that. And you need simplifying, which is being able to let go of what's unnecessary. So we've had core values, positive attitude, focusing, giving our attention, and then uniting, finding the underlying unity in whatever we're experiencing. The sun shines for everyone, the flowers bloom for everyone. There is always an underlying unity. And the Sanskrit's very clear on that as well. So it's essential to practice uniting in order to establish conscious confidence. And so now we get on to simplifying. And the issue here is the danger of keeping busy. So yes, the danger of keeping busy. And I've got a story for you. When we take a break, I'll come back and I'll tell you a nice little story. But the issues we face, the dilemma we face these days, and it's increasing, is this increasing complexity in our life. And Thoreau said, simplify, simplify, simplify. Otherwise, we're frittering our life away with a whole lot of irrelevancies. And David Thoreau was an American philosopher and thinker. And he said, simplify, simplify, simplify. And all the great wisdom traditions come back to sticking with what's essential and letting go of what's not essential. And that's the essence of simplifying. So we have this issue, this problem these days, which is the danger of keeping busy. We're not very good at actually just stopping and being present. We've got to keep busy, and that may be physically busy, or it may be mentally busy, churning the same thoughts over, and even worse, churning the same emotional reactions and emotional states, repeating those endlessly. That keeps us busy. It's not productive, but it keeps us busy. And we all suffer from this, and it is something we need to work against and practice letting go of all this unnecessary stuff. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into the danger of keeping busy and how to keep it simple, sweetheart, the KISS principle, K-I.S.S, KISS principle. So we'll be back soon with Conscious Confidence Radio, and we're going to learn about simplifying how this is essential to developing conscious confidence within ourselves. And that's derived from a timeless wisdom from the beautiful Sanskrit language. So I'll see you soon, and we'll come back for a gorgeous story which you'll love, and it has a great message in it. We'll be back soon.
You know that moment when you realize you've mastered your wellness, or that you will never fall off the roller coaster of life? Well, yeah, me either. But I still ride unicorns. I will teach you how to become a mindset master. You will learn how your habits and behavior affect the success of your nutrition and exercise, relationships, organization, and so much more. Motivation doesn't arrive in an email, so stop waiting for it. You have to take action, then motivation follows. I am Coach Peggy Wellness. Get out of your comfort zone and recognize the simple truth. We aren't that special. We all have crap to deal with, and we all have a lot more in common than not. I want to spark you into action. We will learn, love, and laugh together. So join me every first and third Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific for Couch, Couch, and Coffee Radio, where you will learn that being happy and healthy is way more than carrot sticks and squats. So talk to you later.
Tap into the wisdom of animals, angels, and masters with Darcy Pariso on Animal Soul Wisdom Radio. Tune in monthly as Darcy brings insights on how to better understand and deepen our relationships with animals. Working with light and pureness of ancient techniques, Darcy, healer, animal communicator, and medium, is here to guide you through this process and provide inspiration to move forward. For more information about working with Darcy, visit darcypariso.com.
Stuck in a roundabout of dysfunction? Learn how to speak your truth to power with host Dr. Kathy Obear. Create real change with smart tools and smart strategies. No frills, no fluff, just life-changing conversations to help get you where you want to be. Extend your reach and become an agent for real change with Kathy Obear. For more information on Kathy and her work, please visit drkathyobear.com. That's drkathyobear.com.
Hi, I'm Laura Meeks, and the most common problem that my clients face is all work and no play. This is why I created Fly High Living. I help you develop a balanced life plan and guide you to a place where you love to wake up in the morning.
Call 888-666-1570 or go to flyhighliving.com to sign up for the 4-week Flight Plan for Life course.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Conscious Confidence Radio. I'm Sarah Main, creator of Conscious Confidence, A Timeless Wisdom. And before the break, we were just doing a quick recap of a whole series of shows I've been doing on the Conscious Confidence Fuse program, which is in my book, which is just coming out in January. It's available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And in this show today, we got up to core values, positive attitude, focusing, uniting. Now we're up to simplifying. And the problem we face now is the danger of keeping busy. We either have so much to do and we keep ourselves going, we find bits and pieces to do, we get distracted and we've got all these unfinished things. And we find it hard to stay focused, and we have this sort of busyness about our life so that we have very little time and space for what's important. And also on the other side of that is we struggle with a certain sloth and lethargy and inability to do that which actually has to be done. So it's a curious contradiction, is we can rush around being really busy and yet we miss the actual things that we need to get onto sometimes. And that requires focusing. So there's a gorgeous story here. It's a traditional one. It's from a beautiful book called Good Company. It's one of my favorite books. It's got lovely stories in it. And it's about a flock of crows, and they were flying along, and they had one of the crows was very skillful, and he was rather self-important, but he was very skillful at what he did. And so they decided that he should be appointed the king of the flock, the king of the crow flock. And so they had this flock with this king. And one day someone in the flock saw this swan, and they decided to go and talk to the swan, and they asked the swan, "Have you met our king?" And the swan said no, he hadn't, but he'd like to. So the flock introduced the swan to the king of their flock. And the king of the crows, he asked the swan, he said, "Well, how many ways do you know how to fly?" And the swan, in his simplicity, just said, "I only know one way of flying." And then the crow said, "Well, I know lots of ways." So the two of them set off flying, and the king of the crows, he was flying around, he was doing all his tricks, and he was up and down and around and landing and stopping and flying on. And because he was much faster than the swan, he flew ahead. Well, the swan only knew one way, which was just to fly simply. And so he flew steadily, a bit slower than the crow. And at a certain point, the crow came back to the swan and to check what he was doing, and could see him just flapping along, and he felt incredibly self-important that he could do all these fancy things. But eventually, because of all this sort of flying around and up and down, he became very tired and he started fatiguing, and they were flying over water, and he suddenly fell into the water because he just couldn't fly anymore. And the swan flew down, helped the crow out of the water and got him to safety and the care of the flock. And the king of the crows was embarrassed, and he was ashamed of his pride and all the cleverness that he thought he had. And he apologized. He thanked the swan for saving his life, and he apologized, and he said he'd learned a lesson. And one of the beautiful, simple messages in that story is that the way to success is this approach of simplicity, sticking to what's true to your nature rather than trying to be something else, trying to do all these fancy things, sticking to what you know is true to you and staying with that. And that is one of the keys to success. You will get there in the end, because that approach always wins. And it's a simple story. It's one you could tell your kids, but there's an important message for us, and it's a simple message. So the complications in life, too much thinking, so many things to do, all this busyness is a danger. So it's the danger of this busyness, because in all this busyness, we're not actually paying proper attention in the present moment, simple attention, full attention. And what happens is we accumulate all these unnecessary thoughts, because the mind's weaving these simple associations of one thought, then another, and that reminds me of something else. The mind's just pulling all of this out of a filing cabinet of past experiences that we've had in our life. So we've got these accumulations of thoughts, and with that draws up emotional reactions. And some of these reactions have a charge to them. So we've got this accumulation of thoughts, these emotional reactions, and there's usually patterns to these, just familiar patterns that are on a loop and they repeat. And they're all completely unnecessary. And then apart from that, if we're not careful, just in our homes, especially these days, because there's so many things around, we can just accumulate unnecessary stuff. So we've got all these unnecessary thoughts and accumulations. We've got all these unnecessary emotional reactions repeating. And then we've got all this stuff that we can easily accumulate in our homes. Too many things that we don't use, things we used to have but we can't let go of. And so we've got these physical objects. And Hermes Trismegistus, another beautiful element of the wisdom traditions, he said, as within, so without. The outside reflects the inner. So if we have a whole lot of possessions and objects that we don't use, it's generally a reflection of what's going on within, because there'll be stuff we're holding on to within ourselves. Now, the problem with all this accumulation, what effect does it have? It brings a lack of clarity. And with a lack of clarity is confusion. And with confusion comes doubt. And with all this lack of clarity, confusion, and doubt, we have this covering over of what's in the present. And often our life, with all of that, it just seems like it's one damn thing after another. We just can't get clear. And from that, we have an inability to make a decision. So we don't know where to start. And from that, then we just give up. And that leads to sloth and lethargy and apathy. And that's a very low level of energy. So all of that is covering over, and why, if you want conscious confidence, we need to clear this out. And that requires simplifying. And simplifying is very straightforward. It's staying with the essentials and letting go of the non-essentials. And that's all the time. Just letting go what's not needed, what's not required. And that goes for thought, for any speech that you have, any actions, thought, word, and deed. Your emotions, if it's not needed, let it go. Because everything in life is coming and going. That's a natural part of how this world is created, how we are created. I spoke about that in the Uniting show. Things come and they pass. And the problem is we latch onto something, and that's where we start accumulating. We start holding on to one thing, then another, and suddenly we've just got a whole accumulation, like a hoarder's house, where they've hung on to everything and they haven't been able to let it go. So simplifying is about decluttering the mind, decluttering your house if you have to, clearing and settling the heart, being present, and shifting any sloth and lethargy and any inability to take clear and purposeful action. And this is essential to conscious confidence. Letting go of what's not essential and staying with what is essential, and being able to determine what is essential from what's not essential, and what's necessary from what's unnecessary. So it's a very interesting thing, this whole aspect of accumulation and then letting go. And if we just live in a state of release, of surrender, of letting go, it's very easy to stay with what's important, because what's important is what's in the present moment, what's of real value, hence the link with the core values. What's important is a positive attitude. our stance. What is our stance, our point of view at this moment? What's our motivation in this moment? What's the right conduct, the right action, the very next best step to take in this present moment? It's utterly simple. So when David Thoreau, the American philosopher, said that we can fritter our life away and we need to simplify, he's bang on the money. So it's the keep it simple, sweetheart principle, the KISS principle. I know some people say keep it simple, stupid, but I didn't think that was particularly nice because I don't want to seem to be calling anyone stupid because I have to practice this myself. So it's keep it simple, sweetheart, the KISS principle. So staying with the essentials and letting go of the non-essentials is critical in conscious confidence. And the Sanskrit, I'll actually read to you 3 of the Sanskrit words, which are in my book. What does the Sanskrit teach us about simplifying? We've got asandeha, which is uncluttered, not accumulating excess in body, mind, and heart, and this results in a lack of confusion. So they talk about accumulation, creating confusion in the body, mind, and heart. Asandigdha, which means clear, certain, and distinct. It's another word that says not smeared over. It's nice and clear and certain. And they talk about smearing. Imagine a window that's all smeared over. You can't see through it. Well, asandigdha is clear and certain and distinct. And then asangshaya is an absence of feebleness and sloth and lethargy and sleep. It's clear and purposeful action. So Sanskrit's bang on the money. Asandeha, asandigdha, and asangshaya is all about letting go, clearing things up, being certain and clear and clean and free of doubt. And that's essential if you want conscious confidence. So we need to pay attention, focus our attention. Uniting means clearing out any of the, bringing together any unnecessary divisions that muddy the situation and cause division and problems. And finally, simplifying, letting go of all these unnecessary things. We'll be back soon and we're going to talk some more about the KISS principle, which is keep it simple, sweetheart. We'll see you then.
It's time to get your life back on Burn Bright Today with Jennifer Marcinelli. Tune in each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Learn to move from the darkness of burning out to the light of burning bright. Jennifer is redefining stress and the energetic causes of burnout, shining a light on process to get your life back. For more information about Jennifer and her work, visit burnbrighttoday.com.
Disease, one of the most dreaded words in our vocabulary. Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know traditionally we have viewed disease as a degenerative process? Disease is better understood when we view it as dis-ease in the human body. Dis-ease means without ease. Health is not merely the absence of disease. It's when every part of the body works together effortlessly, relaxed and at ease. It's that relaxed state that lets energy flow in waves through and around the entire body. Every organ has an electrical charge, and when overcharged or undercharged, dis-ease occurs. And it is an effort to go through our day. We are able to determine the exact dis-ease of the body and design a specific solution to correct the nutritional imbalance. Contact us at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. And visit us at maryjanemack.com.
Are you ready to shift your current beliefs about death from debilitating pain and loss? Follow Angie Corbett-Kuiper as she shares that through choice, present moment awareness, and keeping an open mind that anything is possible, even in death. Tune in to Beyond Proof Radio with Angie, redefining death and loss, every first and third Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more, visit AngieCorbettKuiper.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Conscious Confidence Radio. I'm Sarah Main, creator of Conscious Confidence, A Timeless Wisdom. And in this show, this is the 5th show of the 6-part series of the FUSE program, FUSC FUSE program, Conscious Confidence FUSE program, which is the core part of my book, Conscious Confidence. Use the wisdom of Sanskrit to find clarity and success. We're talking about simplifying. So we started with core values, positive attitude, focusing, uniting, and now we're up to simplifying. And it was funny because I normally write quite detailed notes. I think about what I'm going to do in my shows, or if I'm going to have a guest, or if I'm being interviewed myself. I think about it and I do some research because I want you to get some really good, meaty information. I don't just want to wing it for your sake. I suppose it's the teacher in me, having spent years in a classroom teaching. You go in prepared. And even if you just throw the plan out, you at least need to honor the students that you're teaching or the people that you're talking to and do some homework. And but this time I thought it was funny that when I came to do some preparation for the show, I'm talking about simplifying, and it just seemed silly it just didn't sit with me to have all these masses of notes and yet talk about simplifying, because simplifying is about letting go. So actually, I've just got some key points in my notes. But other than that, it is as simple as that, which is about letting go that which is not essential and staying with that which is essential. There's another beautiful story. It's a Buddhist story, actually. And I heard this years ago. It made such an impression on me. This was when I was teaching. There's a monk, and he's lived in one part of the country, and he was going to travel a long distance up to a monastery high up in the mountains. And when he started, he knew he was going to be traveling and would be having to cross some large rivers. And so he carried a small canoe on his back, strapped to his back. And so he traveled on foot, and he walked across plains and roads and through towns. And every time he came across a river or a creek, he got his canoe and he paddled across, got out, strapped on his canoe to his back again, and kept walking. And he traveled like this for a long time, uphill, down dale, across the rivers. And then he eventually got to the foot of the mountain range, where he was going to climb up the mountain range to the monastery where he was going to live. And at this point, he had been carrying this canoe on his back, and he was struggling. And he got so used to having it and it was so useful to him. He needed it. And what a wonderful thing to be able to have that tool, that instrument to help him with his journey. But then he got to a point in his journey where he was now going to be climbing up a mountain, and he was so used to having it on his back, it didn't even occur to him that he may not need it. And he kept climbing up, struggling up the mountain with this canoe on his back. And he met another monk along the way, another traveler. And he was panting and puffing and struggling. And the monk said, "What's the problem?" He said, "Oh, this is such a hard mountain." And the other monk said to him, "Well, why have you got this canoe on your back?" And he said, "Well, I've needed it. It's been so useful for me. This is how I've been able to travel this far, because I've had rivers to cross." And the monk said, "Well, that may have been the case, but you're now climbing a mountain range and there are no more rivers. The rivers are over." And at that point, the monk laughed and realized that he now no longer needed this incredibly useful tool, but he didn't need it anymore. And he was able to leave it and travel on far more easily to his destination, which was the monastery high up in the mountains. And sometimes some of the accumulations and burdens that we carry are because there are things that have been incredibly useful in our lives, but are actually no longer needed. So it's not only just problems and issues and unnecessary belief patterns and emotional reactions. It can be things that we've hung on to because we think they're going to be useful. And I found that having had a background from a young age, the age of 10, in terms of being taught philosophy and wisdom and spiritual principles, some of them so beautiful, so helpful. But I realized as an adult, I was teaching and I felt unclear, unclear in the sense of sort of burdened by, excuse me, a few things. And when I actually had a look, I was still engaging in practices, and I thought I needed to do this. And I actually realized when I stopped and came into the present moment and connected with who I was then, that I now no longer needed those. They were incredibly beautiful, incredibly helpful, and basically had done their job. And only I was the one who could determine that was going to be the case. And I let them go. And as a result, I was able to take a step to another level of awareness. But I had to let those beautiful and useful practices go. And in a sense, they'd become internalized and naturalized. But the outward form of having to practice them was now no longer needed, and in fact was creating a barrier. That is about just letting go when things no longer serve you, when people in your life that, friends or people that you've had around, if they now no longer serve you, no hard feelings, but maybe in order to proceed to clarity and success in your life, it may be time to let go of certain relationships that now no longer serve you. And that's a very careful decision to make, but you will know this by if you are not experiencing the freedom and certainty and clarity and strength, which is natural, then you now need to see where you're spending your time, what is taking up your energy. Thought patterns, certainly, emotional reactions, certainly, belongings in your life. All these belongings have an energy to them. And you know what it's like when you clear out a drawer or a room or a desk or something, everything just feels so much clearer and cleaner because that energy is released. And similarly, that can be with relationships. So living with the KISS principle, which is keep it simple, sweetheart, we need to be in the present moment and connected to who we are and self-aware. And then we'll know when something's not useful, something's not necessary, and then let it go. And I spoke about letting go in the previous show on uniting. It's coming into the present moment. Become aware of your body. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the clothes on your skin. Feel the air touching the body, touching any skin that's exposed to the air. Let the listening be open and free and wide. Let the thoughts come and pass. Let them come and pass. Keep listening. There's no need to label sounds. There's no need to label sights. If those labels come, let them go. Stay present. And then you can ask yourself, what's the next best step to take? And in that present moment where you're relaxed and you genuinely just let things come and go, you'll be very clear on what the next best thing to do is. You'll be clear on what's essential. You'll be clear on what's necessary. That knowledge is there in the present moment every single time. And the wisdom traditions tell us this. But it gets covered over when we're in these webs of thought associations and emotional reactions, and they're all based on the past or some projection into the future. They're never based on the present moment. They're always past and future projections and associations. So we're living in the past and the future. We're not actually present. When we come into the present moment, it's all there and it's clear. And that takes a bit of practice. So we need to focus to be in the present moment. We need to find the underlying principle rather than the division to be in the present moment, because the present moment is united. It's here now with all this beautiful variety, but it is a united present moment. It's single. And then we need to simplify by letting go of that which is not essential and staying with that which is essential. So remember, everything is coming to pass. Everything is moving on. It's like the waves at the beach, waves in the ocean. They don't come and stop. They come and they go. They come and they go. Sometimes they're big waves. Sometimes they're just little ones. But they're always coming and then going. Well, our thoughts are the same. Our emotional responses are the same. And frankly, a lot of our possessions are the same too. They have their time and use. We get them. Sometimes we keep them for longer. Sometimes not so much. and then we let them go and we hand them on to someone else. We recycle them, we reuse them, and let them be repurposed, and someone else can then make use of them. And if we keep that natural flow, then we will live in a state of balance and alignment. It's very simple, and it is natural, and all the wisdom traditions are teaching this. So with the keep it simple, sweetheart principle, you'll live, a life will become much simpler. And simplicity doesn't mean boring and dull. Simplicity means rich and deep. You appreciate things more. You have gratitude for things more. With simplicity, it means you're present to the joys and the wonders of every present moment. And in simplifying, you will discover that that is an essential element of conscious confidence, because that's the sort of confidence that we can draw on at every moment of the day throughout our life. It's not dependent on circumstances being a certain way. Doesn't mean you won't feel anxiety if you're doing something new, if you're going to put on a performance, if you're faced with some challenge. That's just a natural response within the body, mind, and heart. But you don't need to be pulled around by that. You can watch it play through the body, mind, and heart, through the instrument, and you can watch it. And you have this strength and resilience and steadiness no matter what. And that is conscious confidence. And then clarity and success is right there in the palm of your hand. And all the wisdom traditions are saying this. We'll be back soon. I'm going to talk about what's coming for the next show. We'll see you soon.
Have you discovered the remarkable books at angelhealinghouse.com? Author Claire Candy Hoff has channeled rare books of inspiration and insight.
Angels of Faith is an inspiring story of healing, comfort, and hope that reminds us that death is not to be feared, but embraced with joy.
One True Home, Behind the Veil of Forgetfulness, takes readers on a roller coaster ride through Angel Ariel's 5 most important lives on Earth, as well as her experiences in the afterlife, and helps us remember our own journey across the veil.
And Claire Candy's autobiography, I Am an Angelic Walk-In, which details the 2003 soul exchange that took place when Claire Candy walked out of her body and Angel Ariel walked in, creating heaven on earth for herself and others.
To find out more about these wonderful books, visit angelhealinghouse.com today.
We remember a time when you could simply form a thought and it would manifest. The harmony was forgotten, but it is returning now. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin on TransformationTalkRadio.com each second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific will take you on adventures through the heart and spirit, exploring who we once were. This intuitive healer studied under the guidance of wolves, learning from their wisdom to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Visit OneTrueSelf.com.
If you've ever had a broken heart, you know how painful that can be and how long it can sometimes take to heal it. I'm Megan Edge, author of The Heart's Journey, Healing Hearts, Oracle Cards, and Guidebook, published with Balboa Press and Hay House. In The Heart's Journey, I share with you my own heartbreak and how I healed it through the beautiful hearts that found me in nature. From taking photographs of these hearts for myself, I've created this beautiful toolkit, which includes the guidebook, which has my story, how to work with Oracle cards as a healing tool, and the story of each of these hearts as they cross my path. I've also created a beautiful journal. There's a pen, a bookmark, and of course, the 42 Healing Hearts Oracle cards. You can order The Heart's Journey, Healing Hearts Oracle cards, and Guidebook through my website, meganedge.ca, through Balboa Press, Amazon, and many other places online or your local shops. I look forward to hearing about your heart's healing.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Conscious Confidence Radio with Sarah Main. I'm Sarah Main, creator of Conscious Confidence, A Timeless Wisdom. And we've been talking this show about simplifying, which is the second last, the penultimate stage in the FUSE Fuse program, the Conscious Confidence Fuse program. And I've done a show on each of these elements. So the first bit is core values, then positive attitude, then focusing, uniting, and today was simplifying. And the next show, which brings the whole program together, is energizing. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I've got a book launching. Here it is. Drum roll. Ta-da. It's coming out on January the 7th. It will be out for purchase. The hard copies, ebook and audio books will all be out on January the 7th. And it's available for pre-order now at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, IndieBound, the publishers, Inner Traditions, from their website, and from my website. And I have a website, consciousconfidence.com. So if you want to find out more about what the heck is conscious confidence, what's she talking about, go to my website, consciousconfidence.com. If you want to find out about Sanskrit, a bit more about Sanskrit, and my background in Sanskrit, and my background in timeless wisdom, go to my website, consciousconfidence.com. So the book's out, available for pre-order now. My website's there. Also on my website, you'll notice a tab which has got radio podcasts, and there's a link to all the radio podcasts I've done if you want to learn more. Very practical, timeless wisdom, linking it to Sanskrit. And there's also a blog there, so there's plenty to read. And on my website, there is a free alignment guide. And that's based on the Sanskrit concept of santulana, balance and alignment. And it's 2 short videos and some PDF worksheets, and you can download those. So you get 2 videos and some worksheets, practically applying the concept of santulana, balance, to bring the body, mind, heart, and spirit into alignment in a very simple way. We talk about food, exercise, and rest for the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body, because that's how we bring ourselves into alignment. Very simple. Sanskrit helps us enormously get some clarity on that. So that's available for free. Just go to my website, put in your email address so I know where to send it, and boom, there it'll be for you instantly. So the alignment guide is there. Design your own alignment guide. And then also, I'm on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So follow me on Facebook, Conscious Confidence Sarah Main, and Instagram, Conscious Confidence Sarah Main, and also on YouTube if you want to watch more of these podcasts and engage there. And get in touch. Reach out. If you're curious, if you want to know more, Sanskrit isn't scary. You needn't be put off by timeless wisdom. Oh, it seems too hard. It isn't, and it's the way to bring clarity. The word Sanskrit means pure and perfectly formed. And that's knowledge, that pure and perfectly formed knowledge is available to everyone all the time. So reach out, ask me a question. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or on YouTube. Ask me a question. I got a great question from someone on a YouTube clip, on a YouTube video the other day. It's wonderful because this is how I can open the door for you to some timeless wisdom, which is available right here, right now. It's a timeless thread throughout all time for everyone to dip into. And one little bit transforms your life. Just one bit of new knowledge that's profound and timeless will transform your life. If it gets you thinking differently, opens up your awareness, these things immediately change your life. Doesn't mean change your life. It means it will change how you see things. And if you change how you see things, it'll change how you do things. Then your life experience will change. So get in touch, reach out, send me an email. There's an email address on my website. So go to my website, consciousconfidence.com. And in the next show, I'm going to be talking about energizing, the last part of the Conscious Confidence FUSC Fuse program. And energizing, what is this? Well, it's living each day with enthusiasm, creativity, and vitality. It's taking dynamic, creative action. And it's the final part of the Fuse program with core values, positive attitude, focusing your attention, uniting, bringing together unity out of diversity so you can enjoy and glorify in the diversity and yet still be connected to the underlying unity that is always there. Simplifying, letting go of the non-essentials and staying with what's essential. And then energizing from that point. That's the quintessence, the essential element of conscious confidence, taking enthusiastic, creative action and living each day with enthusiasm, creativity, and vitality. Sanskrit's very interesting about this. It's all comes back to the breath, the prana, and I'll talk about that in the next show. So come back and listen to the next show about energizing. And in all these shows, the underlying element of Sanskrit gives us a connection to a timeless wisdom, to a pure and perfectly formed thread of knowledge. And from my point of view, that's the place to go back to. Always go back to what's essential. Always go back to what's timeless. Because timeless means it's stood the test of time. It's not a fad. It works. People have tried it. It works. And trust me, I've lived my life this way and it works. It really works. I've taught children this. It's not hard. Any adult can do it because trust me, 6-year-olds understand this. In fact, they understand it better because they haven't got all the thoughts getting in the way. 12-year-olds really get it. 16-year-olds really get it. A 20-year-old can get it. A little bit to get through sometimes, but they can get it. So no one's left out of this. Timeless wisdom is for everyone. So take some time to actually stop and consider and go back. Ask yourself some big questions like, who am I? What's the point of my life? What's the purpose of my life? What is my purpose? How can I give full expression to this? How can I be a person that gives energy rather than takes? Am I a person who gives rather than takes? Do I have unnecessary accumulations in my life that are holding me back? Can I let them go? Do I have thoughts that I keep thinking of that aren't serving me well anymore? Am I ready to let them go? If yes, then let them go. Do I have a lot of emotional reactions that aren't serving me well? Are they on a repetitive repeat loop, like a playlist that keeps playing? And through that, am I hemorrhaging energy so I can't actually move and take action anymore because all my energy is going on all these thoughts and feelings that don't serve me well? And is this undermining my essential confidence so that I don't have conscious confidence? Is my confidence based on things I already know, things that I'm familiar with? Do things have to be a certain way before I'll feel confident? So all these big questions get us thinking deeply, and this is how we connect with timeless wisdom. So remember, the principle is keep it simple, sweetheart. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Stay with the essentials and let go of the non-essentials. And as always, I'm going to finish the show with some Sanskrit so you actually get to hear it. And I thought this passage was very appropriate to simplifying. It's the first verse of the Isha Upanishad. And the Isha Upanishad, the Upanishads are timeless wisdom, very, very beautiful wisdom, talking about our true essential nature, how the universe works. And the translation, this is a very beautiful translation by Purohit Swami and W.B. Yeats. Purohit Swami translated the Sanskrit and W.B. Yeats put it into some beautiful poetic English. And it said, whatever lives is full of the Lord. Claim nothing. Enjoy. Do not covet his property. And the Sanskrit goes like this. Om Ishavasyamidanga sarvam yat kincha jagat yan jagat tena tyaktena Bhunjita magridha kasya swidhanam. So have a wonderful day. Remember, simplify, simplify, simplify. Whatever lives is full of the Lord. Claim nothing. Enjoy. Do not covet his property. And we'll see you again next show. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Conscious Confidence with Sarah Main. Join us next month on Transformation Talk Radio for more timeless wisdom with Sarah's exciting and innovative approach to living. Discover more joy, freedom, and step into your limitless potential. For more information on Sarah Main and her work, or to listen to past shows, visit sarahmain.com.